Good evening and welcome to 365 Days of Amazing Stories with Theo Mayer. Here we are on day 10 of 2024. And I'm kind of on a run of telling stories about the Buddha. And it's from a wonderful book called The Hungry Tigress. And a wonderful storyteller whose name I'll tell you tomorrow. This is the story of when Sumedha meets Dipankara Buddha. Now, you might remember at the beginnings how it was clear that this being would strive all that he could, strive until he attained liberation. And after many incarnations, some high, some low, many different forms, what would be known as Gautama Buddha, well, he was born as Sumedha. Sumedha was the son of a wealthy merchant. He'd been born into a very wealthy family. His parents had been, rather up in the years when they had him. And when his mother died, followed by his father, he was left with great wealth. Now, the steward who watched over all the property that came into his possession went over with the Sumedha all that he had gained, his properties, his money from his father, his properties from his father, his money from his mother, his properties from his mother, his money and inheritance from his grandparents on either side. And he had so much, so much that he was left with. Now, being left with all this wealth, he began to think about it. He thought, look at the way it's gone. My mother passed. She was unable to take anything with her, all that she had gained. My father, in passing, takes none of his wealth with him, nor any of his properties. My grandparents the same. And now, look at what I have. I will certainly not be able to take any of it with me either. There must be something more, some truth that would leave me free of all of these things and all of these burdens that come with them. I shall seek that. He went to the king, and he told the king of his intentions, that he would give all that he had away to people in need, to the poor, and that he would leave and go off into the wilds and live as an ascetic. What could the king say except bless him on his way? And so off Sumedha went, after having given everything away to the poor, to the people in need. And he left. And he went into a wild area to inhabit a little portion of forest close to a road and not too far away from some villages. He became known because he was so energetically striving to gain liberation and to understand and know truth. He lived on wild roots, wild foods that he could find, did no hunting or killing, and clothed himself in barks. Fabrics that were made from trees, often the inner barks of trees that were pliable. The part in between the trunk and the bark itself. It once had been the living part of the tree, but dead trees, they have that soft part that you can weave into a fabric with time, of which he had plenty. At one point, he gained a true understanding of deeper and more subtle levels of reality. As he did, he fell into a blissful trance. For days, he sat absorbed in the all. Now, just so happened that Dipankara, Buddha, was making his way from one village to another. And as he was, there were many people that were going with him. Nuns, monks, people that followed him. And you should know that right now, as I'm recording this story, my power has gone out in my house. So unfortunately, here I am, speaking to you in darkness. Dipankara was on his way, and it just so happened that the two villages that he was going to, well, the one he would go past, and then as he went from the next to the next village, he would be passing right along the road that went by the forest where Sumedha lived. All of the people in the villages had gone out, and they were leveling the road and making it soft and passable for Dipankara. Now, Sumedha had been bothered by all this commotion, and it had brought him out of the trance that he was in, having gained some powers, some yogic powers. He floated up into the air and over to where the workers were working on the road. And he called down to them and asked, "What is the commotion? What is about to happen?" "Oh, Venerable Sumedha," the workers said, "Dipankara Buddha is coming by, and it is said that when he gets to the next village in the evening, he will be sharing his dharma." Well, Sumedha, oh my gosh, this was a dream come true. And we'll leave the story there. I hope you didn't mind going into the darkness here, but yeah, you're listening to a story rather than watching me so much. So, hope you enjoy. Have a good rest of your day or evening.